So the rhetorical situation dictates what is and is not persuasive. And this is based on the relationships we observe on the Aristotelian triangle, where each of those elements intersect. There are constraints that arise that shape what the writer must do in order to effectively persuade. For instance, if we look at the top of the triangle, where the writer, message, and context intersect, we have the writer-message relationship. So based on who the writer is, what their message is, and the time and place they're writing in, there are certain constraints that come out of that shape what the writer does with the text. The same can be said for the lower right corner of the triangle, where the message, audience, and context intersect. Based on what the message is and who the audience are and the time and place they're hearing it, that also influences or shapes how a writer must deliver the text. Same with the lower left corner, that audience-writer relationship affected by context. Who the writer is, who the audience is, determines how they're going to hear that message. And so again, constraints arise out of those three intersection points. Rhetorical constraints, then, can be said to be those conditions of the rhetorical situation which shape the rhetoric of a text. It's all the stuff within the situation that influence the choices that a writer makes. And it can be helpful stuff or unhelpful stuff. Rhetorical constraints come in two forms. There are rhetorical obstacles, which are any conditions of the rhetorical situation which the writer must overcome in order to accomplish their purpose. And there are rhetorical advantages, which are any conditions of the rhetorical situation which help the writer accomplish their purpose. When examining rhetorical constraints, remember that the goal of all communication is to match speaker meaning with audience meaning. Rhetorical constraints, then, are those things that are affecting the audience's ability to receive that speaker meaning, whether they are things that are inhibiting that transaction or helping that transaction. To illustrate how rhetorical constraints work, watch this next video. And while you're watching, I just want you to think about what you see, and hopefully some of you will recognize it. Hopefully, some of you recognize this as the classic video game Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is about a guy named Jumpman. No, that's not Mario. This is before Mario. His name is Jumpman. And Jumpman's girlfriend, whose name is Pauline, is kidnapped by a giant ape named Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong takes Pauline to a construction site. That's what the levels are supposed to resemble. In the game, Jumpman has to climb the girders and beams, and in the later levels, the pulley systems, in order to get to Pauline. But every time he does so, Donkey Kong grabs her and takes her to a new part of the construction site. We could say that Jumpman has an exigence and a purpose. His exigence is that Donkey Kong has kidnapped Pauline and is holding her hostage at a construction site. Jumpman's purpose, then, is to rescue Pauline from Donkey Kong. And there are numerous constraints that the game gives us that shape how Jumpman can achieve his purpose.